Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys the first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting episode for you guys that you definitely want to stick around for, so please make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, Kobe's my favorite player of all time, but I do have Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time. If you're a Kobe fan, you're most likely going to like Jordan. And if you're a Jordan fan, you're most likely going to like Kobe. Obviously, Kobe patented his game right after Michael Jordan. But I think the reason why Kobe fans and Michael Jordan fans kind of like kindred spirits is because of the relationship that those two players themselves had, right? Michael Jordan, of all the players in the NBA, for whatever reason, embraced Kobe Bryant. Right, he took him under his wing as a younger brother, and this is something that's well documented. And you saw it at Kobe's funeral at his passing when you saw MJ crying. Right, you don't cry for somebody like that if you didn't have a strong connection with them. So these two guys are synonymous, and I think a lot of their fans kind of overlap with one another, and they usually kind of support each other. Now, one of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's former teammates, who's currently a head coach, Ty Lue, recently went to the JJ Redick podcast, right? He was there, and he was there talking about a litany of things. But of course, the Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant questions were going to come up. Why? Because Ty Lue was a teammate of Kobe Bryant with the Los Angeles Lakers. He was there, and he was also a teammate of Michael Jordan when he came back to play with the Washington Wizards. So while he was on there, to give you guys the backdrop, JJ Redick essentially asked Ty Lue, what really makes the best of the best? What really separates these guys from everyone else, right? And that's the part that Ty Lue basically unpacked, where he then started to talk about Michael Jordan and Kobe and these guys. But before we get into that, this video is brought to you by sponsor Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play what Ty Lue had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to that.
But you've been in position to coach these top 5 players. Like, could you, and you lived it as a player, could you sort of describe the impact and the difference, the specialness and uniqueness of the best versus even other all-stars? Like, what makes these guys so much better than everyone else?
Well, I mean, you have a lot of guys that are, that are really good players, but then you have those special guys, like you said, great players that, some players can get you there, but then there's a handful of guys that can take you all the way over the top. And so, like, when you talk about, top 5, you definitely talking about Kawhi, a guy that, okay, we get to the fourth quarter, last 6 minutes, we know he can take us there. And that's the difference. I think, you get to situations where, of course, I can make a game winner, once every whatever, but I'm saying for a guy to just consistently do it every single night, and you trust that, okay, if we get to the last 2 minutes of the game, he's going to break us home. And there's not a lot of players like that. So that's when you get to your top 5, top 10 players that on a night to night basis in the playoffs, regular season, that when we get to those last 2 minutes, they can bring us home.
I was going to ask you about Kobe in particular. A lot of the guys come on the show, obviously had a relationship with him and idolized him. Was there anything you learned or just saw with him when you were with him for those years that you pass on to especially younger players in terms of just preparation?
Just the way he worked. I think, people don't understand it, how hard to work or how hard it is to work until you actually do it and go through it. And just seeing Kobe and the work he put in every single day, he was 19, 20 years old when I was on the team, and just having a routine and having to coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning before everybody got there, get his lift in, get his workout in, and then come in and be full speed in practice. Like a lot of guys think, oh, well, I can't practice 'cause I got to play. Like, no, like Michael Jordan at 40 practiced every single day. Doug Collins had to, try to kick him off the floor. He wouldn't leave. And the same thing with Kobe. Like, okay, you put the work in individually, but also coming to practice and then playing 40 minutes in every game. Like, that's a lot. And that's what the greats do. And so just seeing how they work and how I played every preseason game. Michael Jordan, when he first, they played every preseason game, like Kobe, every preseason game to get ready for the 82 game season. And so you see like the work those guys put in every single day. Like, man, I ain't working hard enough. I thought I was working hard, but these guys are, 10 times, more. And so that's what you see when you get to the Kobe's and the Jordans and, LeBron's, like the work ethic, Kawhi's. And so it's just a different work ethic than, a lot of other people.
So you heard his comments and what he had to say. First of all, I think this is one of the reasons Kobe, Jordan, to a certain extent LeBron, these guys are so beloved, is because they don't really try to cheat the game, right? They give it their all, and I feel like they feel this sense of responsibility to the paying customer and the fans, right? Because as Kobe once said, you never know what kid is out there watching you that may see you come and play a game and get inspired. You never know. So he said, you got to go out there and play. Now, what is remarkable about Ty Lue's comments is what he said about Michael Jordan in terms of his relentlessness, even at the age of 40. That really stood out to me. Why? Because if you listen to the conventional wisdom that a lot of people give today in terms of sports science and all of this, you want to rest, you want to do this, you want to prolong this, you want to prolong that, all of these different things, it really flies in the face of what MJ did at the age of 40. At the age of 40, in this current NBA, they'll tell him to play half the season. Play 40 games, rest the other 40 games. But to hear that Michael Jordan, at the age of 40, wanted to be a part of every practice, he wanted to go out there. He wanted to go out there and basically play, 39 minutes a game at the age of 40? That's ludicrous. That is absolutely ludicrous. But what it does is it takes you behind the curtains, and in the precincts of in the mind of a Michael Jordan who was hyper competitive. And it explains what really makes this guy the GOAT. It's unheard of for a 40-year-old in 2002, 2003 season. Let me give you guys some information here. In the 2002, 2003 NBA season, Michael Jordan played all 82 games. That alone differentiates MJ from everybody in the NBA today. At the age of 40, Michael Jordan played all 82 games. Here's what's even more remarkable than that. He was averaging 37 minutes per game. He was attempting 18.6 shots per game. Do you know the amount of strength and conditioning you have to be in, to be able to attempt almost 19 shots a game at the age of 40? I think a lot of that has to do with his mentality. People don't talk about that enough. I feel like we're not focusing on the mental aspect of sports anymore. It's all medical. Nobody's talking about the mental aspect of it. Your mind can push you to places you could never imagine, but if you don't allow your mind to take you there, you just won't. Give you an example. My favorite player, Kawhi Leonard, who Ty Lue discussed. I believe a lot of the reasons why Kawhi Leonard didn't play back-to-backs in that season with the 2020-2021 season with the Clippers was all mental. He said, well, you're used to playing 60 minutes, 60 games, so you got to play. You can't play. Until Ty Lue said, no, wait a minute. You can play back-to-backs. Nothing's going to happen when Ty Lue took over the team. It was all mental. Nothing happened, and he found out, in fact, yes, he could play back-to-back. But in the current NBA that we live in, we're telling guys to do less and do less and do less. And here you have it, where you have the greatest player in the history of the sport at the age of 40 playing 82 games and 37 minutes a game. If Michael Jordan can do that at the age of 40, what's the rest of these guys' excuses? There is no excuse. There is no excuse. And to me, it's just another reason why MJ is the GOAT. Listen to just think about the mentality that he had to have to be able to do. So if that's how Jordan was behaving at the age of 40, what do you think he was doing at the age of 25? Unlike anything this league has ever seen. So these are my thoughts and opinions. And the question to the audience is, what do you think about what Ty Lue had to say about Michael Jordan? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we catch you guys on the next one.